Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering the CFP new format that is circulating, the NFL grades, leap year, and make sure you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into the oddities of the day. Before we start, I would like to ask that you like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. That's going to be weird to get used to. Our leak got changed, and it used to be really, really long. And so now I'm like out of the flow of it a little bit.
The sad thing is it needs to change even more, because we're going to be talking about, like I said, adding in the super chat to it too. So you might as well just get used to saying that too. But it is way better to go to gsmcpodcast.net than it is to say go to blah, 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 blah.
See, I know what it is. /
blah, blah, blah. With a side order of blah. I don't even know what it is.
I know what it is.
So, yes. You're going to be in your sleep just mumbling.
Honestly, I probably do. I've done enough shows that I probably do mumble the tips link in my sleep.
Well, everyone, the tips and donation link is super important. It really does help everyone out.
Yes, it
does. Your tips are definitely welcome.
Yes.
But I want to talk about what Faith and I was talking about off air. There's two things we were talking about off air. First thing, I like to put Faith's business out in the street.
Yeah, he does.
And so Faith informed us that she only dresses from the waist up, the waist down. She got pajama bottoms on.
I do.
That sounds kind of bad. Let me clarify. She got pajama bottoms on.
I wear something.
She's properly covered.
Yes.
But she's corporate on the top.
Yeah.
Nap time on the bottom.
I sure am, because you know what? I'm going to take a nap after the show is over with. So I'm halfway there already, you know?
That is hilarious. Okay. And then the other thing I am concerned about with Faith is that Faith hates leap year. Who hates leap year? No one thinks about leap year.
I hate leap year. I don't like it. I despise leap year. But so we'll get more into that.
We're going to be diving into leap year today. And Faith, you just mentioned leap year. She starts twitching in the corner. So... All right. So let's dive into all our fun stuff here.
So the CFP circulating a new 14-team model to include 3 automatic spots for the Big Ten and SEC, 2 for the ACC and Big 12. One of the potential models for a new college football playoff may be emerging. In a format beginning socialized among major conferences administrators, the Big Ten and SEC would receive 3 automatic qualifiers into a 14-team field, with the ACC and Big 12 getting 2 each, and the group of 5's best qualifying as well. Such a model would feature 3 at-large spots to the highest-ranked teams outside of the automatic qualifiers. Those briefed on the format discussed its details under condition of anonymity.
Anonymity? Or
yes, yeah.
Okay, making sure.
They cautioned that the proposed model is nowhere near finalized and is not the only format option that emerged from a meeting last week of the CFP's management committee, which was an 11-member group encompassing the 10 FBS commissioners and Notre Dame's athletic director. So I know we were talking about this a little bit last week, I believe. So I would.
We talk about it every week. It's the soap opera, the NCAA soap opera is always ongoing. They somehow figured out, by being messy and corrupt and a little crazy. They've managed to like have this off season that's just as fun as the regular season.
No, yeah.
It's like, come on, wrap the season up so we can get to the drama.
Telenovela.
Yes.
Okay, so I would love to hear your thoughts about this possible new 14-team model.
This is the second best model of them all. My model is the best one. And I know I do not have a vote. But my model is every conference champion, including group of 5, gets an automatic bid. That means the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, the merged, the Mountain West, Pac-12 new team, the MAC, American, the Sky, all of them, all 10 conferences get an automatic bid, and then 16-team playoff, and then there's 6 at-large bids where you just get the top 6 teams. That way, everyone is included, including Notre Dame. I think that's the most fair model you can have because no one is left out. Now, the reason why but this model, here's the reason why I like this model. The Big Ten and the SEC, which are the 2 biggest, most powerful conferences with the most traditional college blue bloods in there, they get 3 each. 4 is a little pushing it. That's what everyone wants, is the 4 for each one of them. But 3 makes it fair. Okay, but then you have the ACC and the Big 12. They're getting 2 in. I'm okay with that. 1 less than the other ones. And then the top Power 5 team, they get an automatic bid as well. So that's 11 spots for, and at least 3, right? At least 3 available on a 14-team playoff. And if I remember correctly, as long as Notre Dame is in the top 14, they get in as well. That leaves 2 extra spots open, which would not surprise me if one of them doesn't end up eventually going to, if the Pac-12 and the Mountain West merge, that would not surprise me if they didn't get 1 spot in as well. They're making, or even 2. But what I like best about this is taking it out of a committee's hands. This model here, there's no, hey, Florida State's undefeated, but they hurt their quarterbacks hurt, so we're not going to include them into the playoffs, which wasn't fair. Or, hey, Georgia's a defending national champion, but they lost their last game of the year, so we can't even consider them. Well, and I'll be honest, I thought it was the right decision to not include Georgia, but it's also absolutely crazy that Georgia wasn't included.
Yes.
Because it was only 4 teams. This model here means that, Alabama would have got in, Georgia would have got in. Most likely, I think that was Ole Miss would have got in. I think Ohio State, Michigan, and I think Penn State would have got in from the Big Ten. So when you look at this playoff, you're saying, you know what? The best teams are all getting in. All the best teams from every conference is getting in. There's a group of 5 team that deserve to get in is getting in. I like that. Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame gets too much special treatment. I would not have said top 14 for Notre Dame, but if Notre Dame is in the top 10, then they get an automatic bid. Now, at 14, because there's 14 teams, if they're one of the top 14 teams, they get in. Everything is included so that you get a genuine playoff without it coming to, I'm voting for this school because I went to this school, and no, I don't want to vote for this school, or I got a little backroom deal. It comes down to, where if you've played on the field, you've done your job, you're going to end up in the top 14 and you get in by your ranking, not by some committee that's meeting in a back room on the last day of the college football season. That's what I like about it. I still would love, like I said, the Tate model. It's just one of those things where if you're a Mid-American Conference champion, or you're an American, or you're in the Mountain West, or you're in, whatever conference it is, and you go through and you win your conference, I think it's unfair, whether you're Group of Five, whether you're ACC, it doesn't matter. You're still at that Division I level football. If you win your conference, that should matter, and you should be able to get into the playoff and contend for a national championship. That's the reason why I say the Tate model is the right way, because those conferences, every conference gets a representation, but then the best teams, there's still 6 at large that, for the better teams and the better conferences, every conference gets in, but Alabama wins the SEC. It doesn't eliminate Georgia and Mississippi State. If you're a top team, you're getting into the playoff. That's why I keep calling it the Tate model, but that's the model I think would be the most fair.
Yeah.
But the next thing to it is all the major conferences get an automatic bid. The fact is that all these schools that are in the SEC and the Big Ten, to give them just one bid is kind of unfair as well, because if you're Georgia, I use Georgia because Faith is alumni of Georgia.
Go Dogs.
Hey, you gotta beat out Ole Miss. You gotta beat out Alabama. You gotta beat out Texas. You gotta beat out Oklahoma. You gotta beat out LSU. Some years you gotta beat out Florida. You gotta beat out Missouri. Well, if you're in, I don't know, the Big 12 or the ACC, you don't have to go through that meat grinder. If the Big 10, you got to beat out Oregon, who's going to be a beast. You're going to have to beat out USC, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska. You know what I mean? These two conferences are kind of is going to be like a meat grinder. And these conferences are going to lose they're going to lose some games because they're going to be in a much tougher conference. This is saying, hey, we acknowledge that the SEC and the Big Ten are the bigger conference. People get caught up to saying, like, it's saying that the Big Ten and the SEC are the better conference. It just means they're in a bigger, tougher conference. And so it's being recognized that you're going to play a tougher schedule, so they get 3 bids. Hey, but being in the ACC and the Big 12, that matters too. You're getting 2 bids. So the Big 4 conferences are getting multiple people in, which makes it as fair as you can get with this whole political aspect of the college football playoffs. If you're Boise State, and Boise State's going to be good this year, and some of these models, you go undefeated, or you win the Mountain West, don't you think you deserve to at least have a chance to compete and go in there and play against Georgia, play against someone else, like Cincinnati did? I think Cincinnati was in the American or Conference USA, one of those. And they got a chance. Yes, they ended up getting dog walked in the playoffs, but they had the right to play. These guys, if you have a good season, you get an opportunity. I just don't want a playoff system that excludes someone who's had a great season.
Right.
Like, and that's kind of what we wanted, is a playoff that includes everyone. And the reason why we talk about this one, because this is kind of what they do normally. They meet on it, And then all the rumors start slipping out. This is the reason why we're going back and we're talking about this now, is because all the rumors start going around first. And it's kind of the way college football does. It's like, let's leak this stuff out to see. We haven't made any official, but leak this stuff out so that we can see, is everyone going to be okay with this, or there's going to be some upset people? Then if there's some upset people, we can kind of pull back. Kind of like when they were saying 4 teams from the Big Ten, 4 teams from the SEC, everyone was complaining. That kind of disappeared, and now it's 3, 3, 2, and 2. Mm-hmm. You see how they leak it out there, and then they wait to see, like, okay, everybody's all kumbaya, so we're gonna meet now. We're gonna pass this sucker because it's tested. The smell test has gone through, and it's cool.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what has gone down. Is the smell test has made it so like, okay, it's okay now. We can go ahead and we can vote on this and see what the world, how things are going to work.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think this one is better than the last one that they proposed. Because as much as, I'm a Georgia fan and they're on the SEC, of course, the 4 for automatic bids for the SEC is great for me, but like, I didn't think it was very fair that those other teams wouldn't really have an opportunity to go to the college football playoff. So I like this model a lot better.
Yeah, it'd be crazy if you're like, 4 teams automatically from the SEC, but, and let's say it's a down year. So first, let's say you get Alabama and Georgia, and then Florida has like a 3 or 4 loss season, but you have Miami and Florida State running the table and Clemson killing it. Mm-hmm. And sorry, guys, you only get one team in, but you're exponentially better than the SEC, or you're exponentially better than the Big Ten.
Right.
Now it's like the ACC, you get 2. The Big 12, you get 2. Mm-hmm. 3 for the SEC, 3 for the Big Ten, but they are bigger conferences anyway. Mm-hmm. And you have to include the group of 5. If the group of 5 I'm against any playoff model that does not include the group of 5, because they play Division I football, and they should have a chance to contend for their national championship. So that's what I say.
Yep, I agree. All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the NFL grades. So see you in a minute.